go ahead and ask that now.
Yeah. So, Curtis, ask your unconscious mind, what is the one problem, the one belief about yourself that if it were gone would cause your life to be changed forever?
Inadequacy.
Boom.
Yes.
There we go. There's an in word that's way deeper than inaction. But inaction was a presenting problem. It's all good. You're doing great. You're doing amazing. And I feel your confidence, Megs.
Thank you, Judy.
Yay, team. Woo! There we go. That's the little shortcut.
How's that?
Nice work, Curtis.
Thank you.
Nice work, Megs.
I got to figure out how to spell inadequacy.
That's Curtis. He's good with spelling.
Help me out here because it's not right what I've written.
N
A
C.
Is it UAC?
INADE inadequate Q U.
ACY?
ACY probably.
I want to say ACY. Where's my phone?
That'll do. You'll know what that means. It's not a spelling test.
No.
It is.
Before I probably would have went, what's that word?
That's a deep in word.
INADEQUACY.
Yeah, that's how you spell it.
That's perfect.
Awesome, guys.
Thanks,
Whoop, whoop. All right, I'll leave you to it.
Thank you.
You need to know that. So Judy,
Yep.
how do you elicit the strategy for presenting the problem? I'm not understanding that enough. So asking the problems is not asking the questions. It's good. It's my understanding of how to describe. Is it ACVEKEAIADBIKI? Okay, so it's kinesthetic. It's frustration.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the presenting problem is what they say, this is why I'm here, and this is what I can see as being my problem. And that problem needs to be a behavior, not an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the problem that she said to you in the beginning when she first started?
Her problem is it's the frustration of not being able to grow the business as fast as she would like.
Okay. So
Wanting to retire Matt from his current job, wanting to build a home. Yeah.
So how does she do that problem? What's the behavior or the problem for her around that?
How does she do the problem? By feeling frustrated.
Okay, so frustration is a kinesthetic.
Yep.
It's not a problem and it's not a behavior.
Yep.
So the first step is to get the behavior or the problem of feeling frustrated. This was the same thing that happened to Meg, so it's all good. It's perfect. So that when we don't work with the K as being the problem, which is where if we go frustration is the problem, that's actually not.
Okay, so we go through now. Can I do this? Would you mind staying there for a minute?
Sure,
Judy?
sure.
Yeah, thank you. So Jess, we have identified that your issue with your Enagic business is not growing fast enough. So it's actually you're feeling frustration. So can you remember a specific time that you did frustration? How did you know it was time to do frustration? What were you feeling right before you did frustration?
Okay, stop there. So this is where we want to make sure that we're working with the problem and or the behavior. So we're not working with frustration.
Okay. So
have you chunked down from that?
No.
Or not?
No, clearly not.
Okay.
So,
So
she's
ask her
feeling, yeah. So
when she does frustration, how is that a problem?
okay. So Jess, when you do frustration, how is that a problem?
Because I don't have clarity around what I'm doing,
Okay.
and it affects my motivation for wanting to, or for knowing how to move forward.
So that comes into the behavior.
So can
The
you see how
motivation.
now we've got more
Yeah.
of a behavior and more of a problem than just feeling frustrated? Because that's not a problem. It's just an emotion.
Yeah.
So the problem is more around she lacks the clarity, and then that leads to impacts her motivation.
Yep.
So then I would ask her if you could describe that in one word. What is that as a problem or a behavior? Ask her that.
So
Which
Jess,
is the first step of the strategy. If you look at the strategy, it's getting them to describe it in 1 or 2 words, right? So this is where you're up to now, just so I can show you where we're at and what you're doing.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
sorry. Sorry, I've listened to the rest of what you said, and yeah, I'm.
So you want to, now that we know that now we're getting somewhere with actually being able to have a behavior or a problem that has certain steps to it, then we can elicit the strategy for that. Okay, so when she does lack of clarity and is feeling not motivated, you ask her, how would you describe that as a problem or a behavior in 1 or 2 words?
So Jess, when you are lacking clarity, you're lacking motivation to move forward. How would you describe that
In 1 or 2 words.
in 1 or 2 words?
Awesome. Good reference back to the words she used, Donna.
I feel stuck and
Sorry,
feeling
you.
feel stuck and like resistance, like it's pushing shit uphill.
So get her to tell you
So-
which one is it.
So yeah, is it, which one is it? Is it do you feel stuck, or is it resistance?
Resistance.
Resistance.
Awesome. So
Cool.
now resistance is the last box.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, got that.
Now you go to the next step, number 2, question number 2.
So, Jess, can you remember a time, a specific time that you did resistance?
Yes.
How did you know it was time to do resistance? And what were you feeling right before you did resistance?
I felt frustrated,
Good.
lost,
The second word was what? Sorry, you're
Lost.
quieter.
lost,
Frustrated and lost. Write them down.
Okay, yep.
What else?
overwhelmed, and confused.
So you write them in the second to last box under the K.
Yeah, I've written them at the side because I seem to have a lot of notes.
That's okay.
Yes.
That's okay.
um,
Let's cross out the other ones. She's mentioned emotions. If you keep them there, they're handy to know.
yeah.
Cool.
So she's mentioned emotions as in frustrated, lost, overwhelmed, and confused. So the emotions are lost, overwhelmed, and confused.
And frustrated. They go in the K box.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would say when you feel lost, because that's not an emotion,
No.
what do you feel?
So Jess, when you feel, hang on. when you feel lost, what do you feel then? How are you feeling when you feel lost? How do you do lost?
Sad.
Yes.
Sad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Good. Continue.
So Jess, can you remember a specific time that you did sad? How did you know it was time to feel sad? Describe what was going on.
No.
No?
Yes.
Found that
Yes. You're right.
frustrating?
You're doing good. You're doing good. Sorry, I didn't mean no. I mean add on the other words as well. All the words that she
Okay.
said. The sad, frustrated, overwhelmed. Yeah.
Okay. So can you remember a specific time, Jess, that you did frustrated, lost, overwhelmed?
Hang on.
Yeah.
No, she's remembering a time when she did resistance.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, and link it back because you already asked her that
Yeah,
before. So
okay.
she's already got an event. So it's kind of like getting them back to that event because
Okay.
you know you've broken
So
the
we're
stuff and
going
everything.
back from here. 3, we're going back.
Yeah, number
to-
3.
Yeah, we're going back to the behavior.
Yeah, behavior, and then how do you know
Yeah.
it was time to feel? All the feelings she gave you. What was going on? Describe what was going on.
So Jess, can you remember a specific time that you did resistance? How did you know it was time to feel frustrated, overwhelmed, lost, or confused? How did you know it was time to do any of those?
And sad.
And sad. Lost and sad. Well, sad was a result of lost, wasn't it?
Yeah, so you could keep all of them in there, but add on the last one she
Okay.
gave you.
Mhm.
Because I saw something, I saw people progressing in their businesses and I wasn't.
Awesome. So that goes in the first box, Donna, which is what I saw what other people were doing is what?
The AVKE is V.
Yeah. VE, visual external.
Yeah.
And you can even write above that what she said about seeing other people having, what words did you say,
Yeah.
Jess?
Having success and,
In their business.
In their business, yeah.
sorry?
In
Yeah.
their business, yeah.
Yep.
Good. Go to the next step.
Just after
You
so
saw,
behavior.
first step, just after you saw and you
Okay, just
explain what she saw again, you know, get her back to that.
after you saw frustration?
No,
No.
you're going back to box 1. So just after you saw the people online having success.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just after you saw the people, I've got arrows going everywhere. Do you care? No.
No.
Just after you saw the people having success in their business,
And right before you felt sad, frustrated, overwhelmed, confused, lost, what was
And
going on
just-
inside your head?
and just before you felt frustrated, lost, sad, overwhelmed, and confused, do you remember what was going on in your head?
Not do you remember what was going on inside your head?
What was going on inside
Be
your
that authoritarian.
I said to myself that it's not happening fast enough.
And ask her, was that your voice or someone else's?
Was that your voice, Jess, or someone else's?
It's my voice.
Because it was, this is not happening fast enough, right? She didn't say something to herself like, I can't do it, or I. So I always get curious and think, was that Dad's voice, or was that,
Okay.
husband's voice, or was that someone else's voice, right? Because we don't know unless we ask. Yeah.
So in other words, who has actually decided that? Is it her or?
Yeah, is it her voice telling herself that, or
Yeah.
has she heard that from somebody else and she's taken it on?
Yep, yep.
Good,
So
awesome. Which is
can you-
what's the second box is what?
the second,
In the
Can
second
you-
box, with her telling herself something, what's the symbol you're going to put in there?
telling herself something. So,
Yep.
K.
No, K is kinesthetic, feelings, emotions. Second
So
box,
she heard herself. Yeah,
which
telling.
is talking to
Yeah.
herself, is
Mm,
AD.
A.
AD, auditory digital. When their self-talk is AD.
I was saying to Jess before, the thing for me, I like whole words.
What do you
So
mean?
I struggle with abbreviations.
It's not about whole words. It's about too many words.
Mm. But that's my, it's
Yeah, no,
something-
it's because that's more conversation and it's soft and it's like, do you remember what was going on? Right? Describe what was going on. It's probably different to how you have conversation because it's more direct.
yeah, but if
It's
you,
different.
but AD,
What?
if they were two whole words, I would,
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood what you were
Yeah.
talking about.
yeah, that's my issue.
You don't have an issue. Let go of that word.
I know, I have
I got
realized,
issues. You know that song?
I have
I love
realized.
that song
today.
actually, but it's not. I shouldn't be singing that song.
So I've
Like
realized
Donna shouldn't
today-
be.
okay, AD.
Auditory digital AD. So you see above all the boxes, it's got what
Yeah.
it could be.
Mm,
Yeah. So auditory internal is someone else's voice. Auditory digital is internal talk. It's okay. You're learning this, and it's
mm, mm.
Yeah. As you're putting this into practice, your learning is just like going
Yeah.
whole next level. Good. Awesome.
Just
So
it
now
was
you've got the
something-
strategy for how she does being stuck. Awesome. That's such a good one. You're going to get that a lot with people because that's going to be most people's presenting problem when you're working with clients is I'm stuck. That's why they need us. People are stuck.
but she decided that resistance was more resistance than
Oh, sorry. Stuck resistance. Yeah. Similar thing.
wow, imagine I remembered that.
Yeah, no. Good. See?
Go
Give
me.
yourself some tickets, babe. Give yourself some tickets. They're flying off now. Okay, so have you got to the root cause of the problem yet?
Close the window. No.
Or are you still been on presenting problem for the last 2 hours?
The next page.
You're up to the next page?
The
Donna, call me
going-
earlier.
Well, I wouldn't have called you now if Jess hadn't told me to.
Call me earlier. You
Yes,
can't
thank
stay on
you.
one page for 2 hours.
Okay, can you do it now? So that's the next question. Can
Good,
you
that's
do it
right.
now?
Yep.
Can you do it now? So can you do it now? What is,
No, just stop. Stop.
Yeah,
Jess,
that's
can
what
you
I
do
wanna
that
know.
now? Can you do resistance now?
can you do resistance now, Jess?
No.
So you can't do resistance now.
That's okay. If I showed Jess a picture of someone kicking ass, right, that would trigger it for her right now in this moment. But she can't do it in her head. That's okay. But you know what you do when you test with her, you're like, look at this person. Look, Jess, look, oh, look. And see if she gets at the end on her. Okay? That's your task to give her that test.
Jeez, I've got to find the picture.
Look at the ripple effect team. Look at them kicking it.
Yeah.
Okay, so describe problem behavior. Describe the behavior simply, ultimately, in one word or two.
Are we doing that?
No, she can't
No.
do it now. You need to skip that bit.
Okay, good. That's what I need to know. She can't do it now.
She can't
so
do it
we're
now, so you
skipping
don't need
that.
to elicit
Yep.
anything in that one.
Phew.
Now we need to get to the root cause of the problem. Here, I'm going to give you a tip. You ready? Ask her the question a couple of times. Ask her, how is that a problem, a couple of times, and then jump straight over to, rather than staying on how's that a problem, how's that a problem, how's that a problem for another 2 hours. What I want you to do is ask her a couple of times so you can practice it. So you're going to, so you'll be on page, I don't know what page it is. Is it 12?
Well, 12, yeah.
Okay. So now you say, how is this resistance? How is that a problem?
And look, I could be writing love letters forever. I've got enough pages here.
Totally okay. But I'm going to get you to fast track it a little bit. Okay. Look here.
Okay.
Ask her, how is that a problem? Chunk
Yep.
down by asking how and how's that a problem? How's that a problem a couple of times. And then you're going to go straight to page number 16.
Yep. Ask your unconscious mind.
Yes. And Jess is very connected to her unconscious mind. So she's going to drop straight down into what she gives you. Go ahead. I'll stand by.
Thank you. So, Lord, geez. Okay, so
back
Jess,
to 12. Yeah.
sorry,
Back to
Back
page
to
12 to
12, yeah.
start with.
so Jess, how is that a problem?
Refer back to the
Refer-
thing.
So referring back to, referring back to the feeling of frustrated?
No,
No,
don't care about that.
the fact that she said to herself, it's not happening fast enough.
No. Stuck and resistance.
Resistance.
How is that a problem?
So how is that, how is the feeling of resistance? How is that a problem, Jess?
It's not really a feeling, but it's all good.
It stops me from taking the action I need to take to focus on my own business and growth.
And Jess, how is that a problem?
Well, it means I don't move closer to my goals of retiring Matt, building our house, owning our life, being free.
And how is that a problem?
Because you're just in the cycle of exhaustion and burnout.
And how is that a problem?
Because it sucks.
Sorry?
Because it sucks. It's a horrible place to be.
Okay. How is that a problem, Jess?
It's life. I deserve more. My kids deserve more out of life. I deserve more out of life.
Good. Now jump to the next
Sure.
question, Donna. Now, can you feel that she's getting deeper into it now? Can you feel the shift in energy?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Now that's where you're starting to get into it more. That's where you can flip over to the next question.
So I'm going to page 17.
16
Can you do
or
it now?
17? No, 16 or 17. Ask your unconscious, 16. Ask your unconscious mind.
16. Shit. So Jess, what I'd like you to do now, I'd like you to ask your unconscious mind, what is the one problem and one belief about yourself that if it were gone would cause your life to be changed forever?
It's coming through that I deserve to be taken care of. I guess the belief behind that is I'm not worthy.
Not worthy.
Okay.
Now just ask her, how is that a problem, and see if we're deep enough. How is unworthy a problem?
So, Jess, how is unworthy a problem?
I guess it's a problem because it's the mentality around what you accept in life.
How is it a problem for you though?
How is that a problem for you though, Jess?
Because I know I want more than the struggle and the lack and the limitations. I know there's more. And having unworthiness keeps me in the lower.
Unworthiness keeps you down, sort of, is that? Yeah.
So try the problem on for the client, Donna, and do you think that we're at the root cause?
So,
Of how this could be a problem for her? Does it feel like it's deep and deep enough for Jess? We've got to an unword, which is good. We're looking for an unword that's deep, not just an un or an in word that's not deep, but an un or an in word that's deep at this point. So that's good.
so
I feel like incapable's stronger than unworthy.
Cool. Awesome.
So the behavior, you feel incapable.
Feel incapable of achieving my goals.
Okay.
Notice how when we asked her how is unworthy a problem, she didn't go there.
Yes.
That,
Okay.
that she kind of avoided it. She avoided going down. She went skirted off to the side with it, which is what people do. So that could be an indication that there is something under that she doesn't want to get present to. And the thing with, why this process is so powerful that I'm teaching you guys is that we question even, I'm not good enough. We question I'm unworthy. Those are things that we all know. And it could be that could be the root cause for someone. I'm not saying it's not. However, a lot of times, not for everyone, but for all of us, for sure, because we're all quite conscious, they're things that we're aware of already.
Yeah. Okay.
And when we can get deep enough into things that are outside of our awareness, that's going to be more of a profound shift.
So in actual fact, her main problem is incapable. She feels incapable of achieving her goal.
Yeah. And she said that feels deeper. So then you could ask her, great, and just reconfirm. So,
so great, Jess.
Just ask her. So if we were to pull out that belief of then would we pull out the one of unworthiness?
So Jess, if we were to remove the feeling of incapable of achieving your goal, would we remove the feeling of unworthiness? Yes.
Awesome. So then, Donna, you continue under that and you do exactly what you just did before with eliciting the strategy of how she does incapable. So incapable is the problem behavior box. Step 1, you've already got that because that's already described in one word, incapable.
Yep.
And then you elicit the kinesthetic, which is just before the problem, and then you go to the first box, which is step 3, and then the first middle box, which is the internal dialogue or the visual internal or the auditory internal.
It sounds so easy when you say it, Judy. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Do you know, I actually am doubting. How do we do them? One context is how we do them. Every context, yeah, okay. So how So I'm asking her now, how do you do incapable of achieving a goal?
How do I
So-
do with it?
How do you do? How do you do the feeling of being incapable of achieving your goal?
So just stay on the script here, Donna, and follow this strategy elicitation here. So you've got step number 1.
Describe the behaviour.
Yeah. And now go to
Simply.
step number 2. Can you remember a time?
Can you remember a time? So the behaviour is the feeling of incapable of achieving a goal. That's it.
Incapable. One word, incapable.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you remember a time, a specific time that you did incapable? How did you know it was time to do incapable? What were you feeling right before you did incapable?
Doubtful.
Okay.
Sad.
Yeah.
Let down.
Okay. Yeah. So that's it. No other feelings. You were feeling doubtful, sad, let down.
Yeah.
So can you remember a time, Jess, a specific time that you did sorry, Judy. Help.
So follow the script, page 16.
Yeah. Can you remember a time, a specific time that you did?
X is the problem.
The problem being
Incapable.
incapable. So
How did you know it was time to
less
do incapable? What were you feeling right before you did incapable?
incapable? Okay. Can you remember a time, a specific time that you did incapable? How did you know it was time to feel incapable? Describe what was going on.
Hang on. Did you get the kinesthetic feelings yet? Before
Yeah. The kinesthetic feeling.
Yeah. You did. I was doubtful.
It's frustrated, doubtful. You felt doubtful, sad, let down. How did you know it was time to feel doubtful, sad, let down? Describe what was going on.
Good.
I had people interested in my business, but they change their minds, or they don't open their minds to what's possible, and see people celebrating their successes and knowing that I'm not moving as quickly as I want to move.
So was it seeing that, hearing that? Was it a sensation? How did you know it was time?
Seeing that.
So that's where you've got to ask a couple more questions, Donna, to maybe get a little bit more about what was going on to elicit.
Okay.
Was it auditory? Was it hearing them say something to her? Was it seeing it? Or generally in that, because you spoke about being with other people, it would either be seeing it or auditory. So she saw, visual, external.
Judy, are you on number 4? Are you on question number 4?
That was question 3 that you just asked her, and that was
Yeah.
getting.
So
Now you can go to question 4.
okay. So just after,
And then you refer back to the previous answer. You
so just
saw,
after you saw people, others being successful, celebrating their successes. Yeah. Judy, on track?
I thought she said, I didn't get everything she said. Was it that people were interested in her business? And then,
Yep. So after she saw people, saw others celebrating their successes, people coming into the business, changing their minds, feeling the frustration of.
yep,
this,
after that happened and just before you felt, and then insert those emotions.
and just before you felt incapable,
Frustrated,
frustrated, doubtful, sad, let down. Can you remember
what was going on
what was
inside
going
your head?
I saw a picture in my head of what I wanted to achieve.
on? So a picture. Okay. Okay. So you saw a picture. So you saw a picture of what was going on. You saw a picture of what other people were doing.
So that one was inside her head. So it's VI, visual internal,
Yeah.
in the second
Well,
box.
That's where I wanted to go.
Visual
Okay.
external in the first box.
Yep. Thank you.
Did you have anything happen after that, Jess? Did you, and before you had the feelings of frustrated, doubt? After you saw the picture, did anything else happen in your head before you felt those feelings?
I would have said something to myself like.
So if you can remember that time when it happened.
I would have told myself just to keep going, keep doing it.
Okay, but this is where I want you to go back to the time when it happened, when you felt incapable. We've got to stay on that event. Because if you're thinking of a picture of what you want to have happen, then you're probably getting yourself out of feeling incapable. So you've got to work with this specific time when you felt incapable. Have you got a specific time?
Yeah.
Was that the specific time that Donna just elicited, or was it something else?
That was the one she just elicited.
Okay, and so as you remember that specific time that you did incapable, how did you know it was time to do incapable? What were you feeling right before you did incapable? Let's go through it again, Donna.
What was going on?
No. Let me elicit it, and I will just observe.
Right. Yep. Thank you.
I had doubtful, questioning myself.
Doubt. What else? What were you feeling? What emotions were present?
Sadness.
Write down any other words that she gives you if she hasn't mentioned it. Donna, doubt, sadness. What else?
Fear.
Fear. Good. What else?
Let down.
What emotion is that?
Like a gutted feeling. It's a feeling.
And what did that make you feel? What feeling is gutted and let down? Was it devastated? Was it
Rejected's in my head, but
rejected? Good, awesome. Write that down, Donna. Awesome. And as you remember that time, at that specific time when you did incapable, how did you know it was time to feel all of those feelings? Describe what was going on.
seeing other people's celebration posts and people being added to the collective, and having conversations with my leads falling.
Okay, I want you to stay on this specific time. So was it the conversations with the lead, or was it seeing someone else having success?
seeing someone else having success.
Okay, so you saw the posts. Yeah, that's visual external, which is right. And then after that, just after you saw those posts happen, just before you felt all those emotions you mentioned, like sadness and doubt, rejected and so on, what was going on inside your head?
I saw my dreams and goals just further away.
You saw them further away. Okay, good, awesome. And after that, did you feel what you felt, or did you have any other thing going on inside your head after you saw that further away? Did you hear a voice or say something to yourself or not?
I just felt. those
Good,
things.
awesome. Okay, cool. So it was right, Donna. Well done. I just wanted to make sure it's good to get a little bit more information. That time she gave us a little bit more information about the pictures that she saw, as in seeing her what she wanted further away. It was totally different to, like, she didn't give us that bit before. So I'd kind of mind read and thought, okay, is she still in this problem or is she getting herself out of it? So that's what I wanted to just make sure.
So it's okay to do that bit of sort of, as you described, mind reading.
Well, no, that's
No.
why I always ask more questions, just to see that we've got what we have.
Yeah. Okay.
I can kind of think, something, which is why it's not, we shouldn't be mind reading it and we should be asking more questions.
Yeah.
So
I'm afraid that I do mind reading.
okay, so don't be afraid of it. Just ask more questions. Yeah.
You know, I make a decision on the information given and am doubtful of whether I
Okay, so
should.
clear the screen on all of that. And all you
Yeah.
need to do is, when you receive information, get curious. Don't make a decision about it, and just be like, okay, so can you give me more information about that? Or, you know, what does that mean for you? Or a meta model question,
okay.
or anything at all. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I get which, yeah.
So
Don't be afraid to ask the next question, basically. Don't be afraid to go deeper.
No, we have to. We have to get them present to their pain.
And not understand, sort of, you know, like it's okay to admit that, okay, I don't get it yet, so you've got to ask another question to get
because they go off and they don't answer the question. So it's like none of it's making sense. So that's where you've got to bring them back and go, well, you didn't answer the question that I just asked. And all of that information you gave me is great, but it's most times irrelevant because they're not answering the question. And that's what happens when people are hitting that boundary of going down deeper outside of their conscious awareness.
Yeah.
You know, not wanting to get into that, is they'll divert off and they won't keep going down. Okay, so just to speed things up a little bit, just skip the next bit.
Behavior.
Huh?
The problem behavior. Describe the behavior simply, ultimately, in one word or two.
No, we just did that.
Yeah.
We've got that already. That's step
So
one
now,
of eliciting the strategy. But you're meant to elicit a strategy for other contexts, so don't worry about doing that. Just move to, can you do it now? Can she do incapable now?
it's actually going backwards.
You're on page 17 still?
Yeah.
So can you do it now, Jess?
No.
The feeling of incapable. No.
Not well.
Not well?
At all?
Good question, Donna.
So Jess, can you do the feeling? Whether you can do it well or
Do the
just
feeling.
a little bit.
Can't do it well. Yeah, I could do the feeling.
Okay.
So now she can do it now. Elicit the strategy. Go for it, Donna.
Elicit.
Just move through it a bit more swiftly and make sure you stay. It just helps her to stay in it.
Yeah. My doubt is the. Okay. Get rid of doubt, Donna.
Yep.
Just then, when you did incapable, how did you know it was time to do incapable? What were you feeling right before you did incapable, Jess?
Overwhelmed.
So just a moment ago, when you did Overwhelmed? Incapable? How did you know it was time to feel overwhelmed, incapable? What was the very first thing that caused you to feel incapable? Did you see something or hear something?
I saw something in my head.
Okay. So just after you,
Saw something in your head.
yeah, just after you saw something in your head,
Just
what
before-
happened? And just before you felt overwhelmed, incapable,
No, not incapable, just the K's.
just the K, okay.
Incapable is the problem.
Yep, okay, good. Needed that clarified, thank you. Just after you saw something in your head,
And just
happened,
before you felt,
and just before you felt overwhelmed, what happened next? Did you see or hear something in your mind or say something to yourself?
I said something to myself.
Sorry?
Said something to myself.
Said something?
what did you say?
You suck.
What did you say?
You suck.
You suck. Yeah, cool. Write that down because it's good to know the language that they use for themselves.
Yep.
Good, awesome. You've done it.
So I've written down saw you suck.
Well, the first box is what? What's in the first box?
Yeah, but I mean, I've just written saw you suck. That's enough. Like
No,
I'm the
it's
only one that has to
No,
understand.
no, it's AD. It's not saw you suck, it's AD.
You suck is in inverted commas.
Yeah, inverted commas, you suck. Next to that is what she said in the AD.
Yep. I'm going to have to come back and reevaluate these things to help me to understand them more.
Well, everyone does. This is how you
Right.
get
Thank
good
you.
at it, by practicing it with
Thank you.
clients
Yeah.
and understanding the script. But yeah, I can look at how I can make it maybe
Yeah.
easier for people as
So
well.
Jess, how long have you had it? Was there a time?
I'm going to leave you to it. This part's
Thank you.
easy. Just keep going through the questions.
Thank you.
Okay, good job. If you
Thank
need
you.
me, reach
Thanks
out
for your
again,
help.
please. Don't wait 2
Yeah.
hours longer.
Hurry up. Hang on. All right.
No, just some pace, some pace.
Yes. Thank
No, sorry. That's what I'm here for.
I'm up to two, the values and reframe.
Say again.
Values and reframe, step 2.
Okay.
And
So you've come up with a plan?
that's what I'm trying to do. So I think it's cause and effect, and he has limiting decisions, like feeling not good enough.
Yeah.
So from there, do I have to ask, what is the higher level problem that creates the presenting problem? The root cause of the problem is, and what purpose the problem? Do I have to ask those questions, or do I go straight to working out the root cause from here?
You've already got the root cause, babe.
Okay. So I don't need to do the...
Only if you feel like you haven't got enough and to work with, and the client is not you haven't got to the root cause of the problem, and you need to, yeah, like if you're, wait, let me just bring up the section. So yeah, you've already got that because you've got you've gone through and circled all the notes and found the language, like using meta model.
Yeah.
Where you're looking for which is Milton model or NLP language presuppositions, looking for the tip off words. If he's using any modal operators, should, shouldn't, could, couldn't, can't, things like that, you've gone and done all that.
Well, not properly, probably.
So go through that properly, look through, and you'll see the words and also all the emotions. Anytime where he's mentioned part of me wants to do this, part of me wants to do this, or the word conflict or something like that, looking for parts, conflicts. and any other words that are like should, shouldn't, can't, like modal operators, cause and effect statements. This means this, that's what you're looking for there. So go through again all of the notes.
Yeah.
Be sure you understand how the client has constructed the symptoms he talks about with the events he's given you. If you don't, that's when you need to ask those additional questions. So do you understand how if you've got the strategy for it and you've elicited the strategy, then you would understand how they do it.
Yeah.
And the higher level problem that creates the presenting problem, the root cause of the problem is what? You should know it off the top of your head.
What is the purpose of the problem?
No.
The higher level problem that creates a presenting problem, the root cause of the problem is inadequacy.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And what did he say for what is the purpose for the problem? That one you asked back.
Yeah, he, what did he say? The purpose, the reason. So he said it's an excuse to stay where I am.
Okay. And what else?
That's all he said.
Well, it's not enough. I would go back and ask more, because an excuse to stay where I am is possibly secondary gain.
Okay.
Meaning, okay, well, if you've created that problem to stay where you are, then that's serving him, because it's easy. He can stay where he is.
Yeah. Okay.
So in that question, you've got to ask it and what else, and what else, and what else? What else is the purpose of the problem? And get as many things.
But go deep. So I did ask him what else, and he's like, nothing. So I just keep saying that. Yeah.
Okay.
He said nothing. So I'm like,
So that's where you have to reframe. Okay. And a reframe is, in a perfect world where we create everything.
I said that to him.
Yeah.
First he said,
so did he give a positive? Any positives for the purpose for the problem?
That was when he came up, because at first he said yes, and that was it. And then I said that question to him in a perfect world. And then he said it was an excuse to stay where I am. And then I said, what else? And he said, nothing, that's it. So
when they do that, just say, well, I want you to ask your unconscious mind again, what else is the purpose for this problem? Because every problem has a positive intent. So you can reframe saying that. You may not know this consciously, but every problem has a positive intention. So if there was a higher purpose for this problem, what would it be?
Yeah. So rehash that, and then from there, ask the unconscious mind, when did you choose to have it? And because I've
only used to create it. Have you asked him that?
Yeah. And that was to protect himself.
Okay. Good.
Another one there. And so all the other questions are answered. Just I felt as well that he didn't go deep enough there, but I didn't know how to.
Well, that's where you've got to take charge.
Yeah.
And when you've got a strong person who's like, no, whatever, they're just like, that's it. Then if you know that they haven't gone deep enough, then you've got to be more of a stand for them to go deeper than to just accept their answer.
Okay. All right. So because there was only like 2 lines, I thought possibly I didn't need to go deeper there, but obviously not the case.
On which one?
So number 10, part B, and I guess part A as well.
What's the question?
So the first question, ask your unconscious mind, what's the purpose or reason for having the problem? And the other one was why us?
Yeah.
Okay.
So keep. You've got to
keep going
until they empty out. I would normally get, 2 or 3, if not 5 or 6.
Okay, 2 to 3 or 5 to 6. Okay. Answers. All right, and then go back and do my presuppositions from all that information, and then
and so the thing that I want you to be aware of with this, and you're going to need to reframe, you're going to need to do some reframing around protection. You're going to need to do some reframing around So you could use metaphors, or you can use reframing, or, you know, some language pattern questions or whatever. But if he created it for protection, then that's secondary gain. Then he has a higher purpose to keep the problem than he does to not have it.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah, and then so then we would have to do elicit the timeline for secondary gain or not?
No, secondary gain requires you to make sure that you've got all of the things that could be secondary gain that could get in the way of this intervention. Because if protection and what was the purpose for the problem? To keep him where he was. If those things are not dealt with, then the intervention won't be successful, because that's going to win.
That will be the end result.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, no, he won't allow the change, because the reason why he's got it is for protection and to stay in what he knows already.
Yeah. I tried to remember that example that you gave in the audio about the 100 X's and the Y's, and
Yeah,
and
you would have had to write it out.
yeah, and I didn't write it out clearly
Yeah.
enough. So it, yeah, I got the gist of it, but I don't know.
So you could say, does inadequacy equal protection?
Okay.
Does 100 times inadequacy equal 100 times more protection?
Inadequacy equals 100 times more protection. Okay.
See what he says, and then, you know, it's could he you need to get him to see that he can still be protected and be adequate,
Yeah.
right? So that's where you're going to have to do some reframing around that, and also even just calling it to their attention. And so that's where the next question of, will any of these problems stop you from solving this problem? Did you ask him that?
Where is that? Okay.
That's up in step 1.
Will any of these problems stop you? I'm sure I did.
Let me find the page.
I'm sure I'd have asked that question. Oh yeah. Is there anything? Is it something like? Is there anything you're getting which is not going to allow the problem to disappear? Is it something like that, or?
No, that's another question. That question's not in there. I need to add that question in there. So I would bring him back and ask him this question. Will protection, and this is basically a reframing question, right? It's loosening the model of the world. And seeing where they're at, seeing if it really is secondary gain. Because if they say, yes, it will stop them, then it really is secondary gain. It may not be. So this question will help determine that as well. I would probably bring him back first before you do the next steps, just so you have this information.
Yeah. So will protection.
And what was his other answer to purpose? Purpose was to stay where he was or something, or?
To stay where I am.
Stay where I am. Will protection and staying where you are, will those problems stop you from solving this problem? And if he says yes, then it's secondary gain. And if he says no, then you're good. But I would still do some reframing anyway.
If he says yes, then it's secondary gain. And no.
And this problem, you know what I mean by this problem, right? The problem that we're working with, which is inadequacy.
Yeah.
Root cause problem.
Yeah. So then, if it's, because you've got here then, if you're, okay, so they've said he's willing to accept the benefits of the changes
Mm-hmm.
and listen for double binds or secondary gain in their answers. If any sign of them not willing to take full responsibility, they will not be a good client. So from them just saying yes, is that enough? Like that's what Curtis said, and then we move on, or?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So with regards to the question, will protection and staying where you are, will they stop you from solving this problem, being inadequacy? If he says yes, secondary gain, what do I do from there?
Well, if he says no, then you're good. Then you can just say thank you for that information, and then come back here. So just go and do that step now. I'll tell him to come in. Oh, he's there already.
Are you going to stay and listen and wait to see?
Yeah, sure.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you there, Curtis?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can't see you.
You need to see him, so bring the screen up.
Okay, I just have to ask you some more questions, Curtis, to help us to move forward. So I'm just going to go back to the purpose for the problem. And when we asked your unconscious mind earlier, you said the reason for having this problem was that you were using it for an excuse to stay where you were. So I need just to ask you another question here. So will protection and staying where you are, will they stop you from solving this problem of inadequacy?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then, Jude, where do I go to from there?
Cool. And then you're going to go to create the plan. So go through all of your notes.
Yeah.
Just go through those, tell Curtis to have a little bit more of a break, go through those again, come up with any language pattern meta model questions you need to ask him to loosen his model of the world. Any reframes, if necessary, a content or a context reframe and or a metaphor, and you can start with that when you come back to the session.
All right, perfect. And
then once you've done that, then you go straight into the next piece, which is there's those questions there, but I don't think you need them. And then you go to step 4 and elicit values. But you've already got that. He should be able to give you the values that he did with whoever he did it with.
Okay.
And that saves a bit of time there. So you just get him to give you those. And then you go to step 6, set up the frames for coaching. Just, move through that pretty quickly. You don't need to spend too much time on that, but, just practice doing that. And then you go into step 8, elicit timeline. And then you go to step 3.
Okay. Step 8, yeah. All right, perfect.
Cool, awesome, great job.
Thank you.
Doing amazing. Woohoo! Hey, Gary.
Judy. So I'm just going through all the notes I've taken, and basically, so she's at affect and necessity and limiting beliefs, not good enough, I'm unworthy. So I'm I've got a bit of an...
Awesome, well done. So the root cause problem is what?
Well, I'm unworthy.
Unworthy. Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
what are your questions?
So I guess I'm just sort of like, so the negative emotions that I've come up with, which she's presented have been sadness, fear, hurt. So getting rid of those, limiting decisions and beliefs. I'm just sort of creating my plan at the minute.
Yep. Cool.
Getting rid of I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy.
Yep.
There were no parts conflicts or anything.
Okay.
But I'm also thinking like the swish pattern would be good. But yeah, I'm sort of trying to work out what processes I'm going to do with it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what was the presenting problem?
So the presenting problem was procrastination,
Okay, cool. Awesome. Good.
but the root
Yeah.
cause unworthiness.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome.
I guess I just wanted to run it by you more than anything, just to, I guess, so I sort of had a bit of feeling that I'm on track. But
You're so on track. So on track. So what you can do, she didn't mention anger.
didn't mention anger.
Okay.
Yeah, so the big ones were hurt, fear, sadness.
Okay. So I would just ask her, is there any anger still residing from the past? Just do a check-in with that. I mean, she's released that already, but just to double check. Sadness as well. What I would ask her, she may not have mentioned it, but is there, and you ask the question with a, you didn't mention this, and you can reject it if it's not true for you. Depression.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, and you can release that, as well as sadness. Just do a check on that, right? Checking in with other emotions that are similar. So sadness, fear, guilt, hurt were the three that she'd mentioned, yeah?
Yeah, so hurt, sadness and fear were the main three.
Okay. Did she say, so the other thing you could check on there is any other, like any specific type of fear, you know, like sometimes in business, fear of failure is a big thing. And so you can actually specifically do that separately.
Okay, all right. Yep.
Yep.
All right. Yep.
So you could, if she mentioned that, you could do that as like, you know, again, you check in with your unconscious mind. Do we need to do, you know, you release fear and then you can check in and say, cool, do we need to release fear of failure as well? Or is that being cleaned up also?
Okay, all right. Okay, so check on anger, ask the question about depression.
Yep.
And check in on fear once that's cleaned up, just is that cleared up the fear of failure in business as well?
If she mentioned that, did she mention that or?
Well, yeah, sort of, yeah, she's obviously, she is, yeah, sort of scared of failing, yeah, so.
Okay, and then even scared, right? Remember how scared could be different to fear. So if she mentioned the word scared, then you would ask her again if that is stored separately from fear, and do we need to release scared as well? You're doing awesome. So when you go back to the strategies that you elicited, were there any other emotions she mentioned, like frustrated or disappointed or annoyed or?
No, there's
No?
a lot of fear, hurt, sad. Oh, there was actually there was feeling rejected.
Good. That would be one you could add on there to do as well. Underneath guilt, there's a space to write other words.
Okay, yep, all right.
Any other emotions in that, you know, before the behavior? There's the K box.
Yeah. Rejected, hurt, sad. Pretty much she did, and that's sort of her strategy that she runs.
Okay.
It's down, and each one. It's funny, yeah. It was, as you said, it's funny how she was like, oh, it's interesting how you do that in other areas of your life. So, yeah, even with health and family as well.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Good. And then when you went through the events in the past and you said what emotions were present, were there any other emotions mentioned?
Sorry, can you?
As you look through those notes. So question number... Well, what happened the first time you had this? What emotions were present?
Oh, yeah, okay,
Question
yeah.
5, have a look there through any emotions,
Rejection,
different ones.
rejection, hurt, sadness, anxious, fear.
Cool. So anxious is there. So you'll do the anxiety model, which is good. And then question 6, any similar events happened since then? What emotions were present?
Same ones, rejection, hurt, sad, anxious, fear.
Okay, cool. Good. So you're right on track. You could find what happens is when you clean out you unworthy, you may not need to release not good enough. You would check in and see, well, we've released unworthy. Has that pulled out not good enough? It may be different. It may be separate. You could do a belief change as well, like a submodalities belief change.
Okay.
On that, just to add in another technique for fun. Right. It's just another little, gives you more practice on a belief change.
Okay.
And then what else? And then, and so what happens is when you pull out that root cause, that could also pull out procrastination. So you would check in when you get, further through towards the end of it, you're always checking in. Can they do the presenting problem, or could they see themselves doing that presenting problem or not? And is it still there, or do they think that it could still be there? And if it is, if they could still procrastinate, then you would do a swish pattern there.
Okay.
Because you can't do chaining anchors because you're not in person. So,
Yes, no.
I mean, there's ways to do it, but I haven't taught you guys that, and I haven't really done it much myself either. So I would just use the air swish pattern if I needed to. That's powerful. That's a powerful technique to use in that case as well.
All right.
But you'll probably find you may not need to, but yeah.
All right.
No
Okay.
anxiety, you've got all the limiting decision, limiting beliefs, there's no parts. But I would also check in with parts. Always check in, even though they haven't mentioned it.
Okay. Yep.
Right? Is there a part of you that's really, what did she say to the question about, is she willing to accept the changes?
Yeah, 100%. She's
Benefits?
Yeah.
Good.
All that. She was right on board with all that.
Good. Sometimes at the unconscious level, though, there is something there that's outside of their awareness.
Okay.
So that's where, you were so sure that you want to make this change. Are you congruent at the unconscious level that you're 100% ready to make this change?
Yeah, okay. Are there any parts of you that are incongruent with that change? All
Yes. Right. Yeah. And again, you ask it as a question, we're not suggesting that it's there, right? And I would always frame that up as with the correct tone, and reject this if it's not true for you. We just want to check in and make sure that everything's aligned. And, if it's not, I mean, this is not what I would say to them. This is what I'm telling you. If it's not, obviously, this is where we identify where some more work can be done. And you can do parts integration over the, like this, the normal parts integration. So just, we'll do that. And then also go through all of those notes, Gary, and look for all of have the meta model sheet there. At minimum, use the meta model sheet.
Yeah, I've got.
Be looking through that of any tip-off words like can't, shouldn't, have to, like the necessity words you've mentioned, you've identified. Are there some questions that you could come up with for her to start off this next session that will help reframe her model of the world a little bit, just loosening the client's model of the world by asking some of those questions?
She's, a lot of those. Yeah.
Yes.
Uses because a lot.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go back and look and, come up with a series of questions, and that will just help to, you might not feel like it's really doing anything, but what it does is it loosens their model of the world, and it's loosening the grip on their problem by getting them to ask themselves and look at things from a new perspective. Okay. So you can do that, and then you could come up with any reframes. If there was any cause and effect statements, right, then you can have these reframe statements where you would say, oh, you mentioned because blah, 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 and then you would throw them a reframe. If you remember from prac when we did the content and the context reframe, meaning reframe, context reframe. And then a metaphor as well, if you want.
Yeah, I've written a bit of a one for that, so just to,
Awesome. You're rocking and rolling.
keep chipping away.
Champ. Nailing it.
Yeah, I just wanted to just sort of, just get your.
Yeah, the confirmation that you're on track, and to have this conversation. It's great. I'm glad you did. I really like having a conversation at this point. It's a good point to just drop in, check in, and amazing. High five.
Legend!
Woo! Thank you.
You're the best.
Leave you to it.
Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you tell me when you were there, ask your unconscious mind, was the event?
A significant emotional event?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Okay. A significant emotional event, yes or no?
No.
No? Okay. So ask your unconscious mind, it wasn't a trauma, it wasn't significant at all.
Were you traumatized during the event? Yes or no?
No? Okay. No? I've marked the thing wrong, sorry.
Just ask both
If
questions.
you were to know, was there a decision that was made there too? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
What was it? Do you know what the decision was? Could you tell me what the decision was?
I was a mistake.
Sorry?
I was a mistake.
Right, so it was a negative emotion.
No, I was a mistake. It was a decision that was made there.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so now I'd like you to stay in position 2. And continue to the next event. Remaining above your timeline, which is age 7. And stop in position 2, directly above the event. Tell me when you were there.
Mhm.
Ask your unconscious mind, was the event a significant emotional event? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Were you traumatized during the event? Yes or no?
No.
No. If you were to know, what emotions were present at that event? Ask your unconscious mind.
Fear.
Fear. Okay. Tell me what decision you made here about yourself.
Not to be heard.
It's a good one. Okay, so not to be heard. Now, I'd like you to remain in position 2, still floating up above your timeline. Continue on your journey back to now, to the next significant emotional event, or was it a significant emotional event that happened at age 11?
No.
No? Cool. So ask your unconscious mind, Jess, were you traumatized during the event? Yes or no?
No.
No? Okay.
You can still ask the next question about the emotions and the decision.
Yeah. Tell me what division, if you were to know, was there a decision that was made there? Yes or no?
I'm not good enough.
Nice
What,
one.
and what emotions were present there?
Uncertainty, sadness.
Good, Jess. You're doing great. Donna also.
Thank
Good. Move on to the next one.
Okay, so staying up above your timeline, staying in position 2 and floating back along your timeline. So now we're going back to the age of 12. Was this a significant emotional event? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Were you, so I'd like you now to ask your unconscious mind, were you traumatized during this event? Yes or no?
No.
No? Cool. If you were to know what emotions were present at the event, ask your unconscious mind.
Loneliness.
Any other?
Sadness again.
Sorry?
Sadness.
Sadness? Any other emotions? No? Cool. Okay, Jess, so while we're in the area, just stay up above your timeline, staying up in position 2, up above your timeline, floating along to the next event that occurred in your timeline at age 17. Was this a significant emotional event? Yes or no?
No.
No? Okay. Ask your unconscious mind, were you traumatized during this event? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes? Wow. Good work, Jess. Now, if you were to know, what emotions were present at that event? Ask your unconscious mind, Jess. Just stay with it and ask your unconscious mind. What emotions were present?
I was angry.
Angry. Yeah, and what other emotions were present? Do you remember any other emotions that were present?
Disappointed.
Disappointed. Any other emotions that you can acknowledge while you are there?
No.
No more?
No.
Cool. Okay. So now we're going to float back along the timeline a bit further and we're going to come to age 23. Now, can you tell me, Jess, was this, when you get back to age 23, let me know that you're there, and ask your unconscious mind, was the event a significant emotional event? Yes or no?
No.
No? Cool. Ask your unconscious mind, were you traumatized during this event?
No.
No? Root cause? So this is one, yeah, I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, you have.
I don't know why I haven't seen it, but Jess
So,
did it yesterday and I felt she did it very good. She
okay.
did very well.
So you have done discovering the root cause because you've just been doing it. If you've released emotions, then you've done it. It's the same thing, but we don't need to necessarily do that because you're going back on each event and you're cleaning up each significant emotional event. Discovering the root cause is going back and getting the first time an emotion or something happened, which
So just clearing up each emotional event is, where do we go from the scan?
Well, the first thing is you did great. So a little bit of feedback is make sure that you ask every question at every stop. Because some of them you ask some questions and some of them you didn't.
I missed,
Sometimes you miss the emotions and sometimes you miss the decision.
yeah.
So it's no biggie.
Yep.
If there was the first event, there were emotions present or the decision present.
Yes.
So you would do what technique for a decision such as I was a mistake?
So negative emotions.
Is it an emotion? No.
No, it's a belief.
It's a belief. Yeah. So what's the technique
So-
for that?
Limiting decisions.
That's right. So you're just choosing the techniques that you need for each of those.
Okay.
And it's trial and error. You know, you get to ask their unconscious mind, what do we need to clean up here? You could do it as a full significant emotional event. You could do it as working with an emotion. You could do it as working with a decision. And anything's possible. So if you've got something that is a significant emotional event and there's emotions present, you could just start with negative emotions, 1 or 2. If there's no trauma on that event, you can use negative emotions 2, and then clean up the emotions on that event. And what that can do is clean up that whole event, clean up that as a significant emotional event.
Let me
Or,
just- yeah.
Or if they say, yes, it was a significant emotional event, but I know what emotions are present, and you just go back there using negative emotions 2 is what I would use there, because they're not sure on what the emotions are, and that dips them down in and gets them to see what are the emotions. So they go inside the event and they check on the emotions there. So use whatever you feel, and remember, throw it back at Jess. Ask Jess, at this event, is it the emotion, releasing the emotions, or the decision that's going to, it's like always about pulling out the root cause, pulling out the thing that's going to pull out everything.
Okay.
So a lot of times, and when there was a decision that was made there are emotions that are attached to it. Sometimes pulling out the decision will also pull out the emotions. Sometimes not. It just depends. So it's all trial and error. What do? You do a technique, go back, test. If it didn't work, then you just do something else. What's still present? If they're like an emotion is still present, then you do the other technique that you need. So that's where it's like, I can't tell you textbook about how it's going to go, and you've got to.
So, yeah. So negative emotions at age 11, uncertain, sadness. And age 12, loneliness and sadness.
Mm-hmm.
Age 17, angry, disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ask her what was the core emotion there, and then clean up that emotion, and it probably will clean up the other emotion. You need to ask her unconscious mind.
Was it loneliness or sadness, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So,
also loneliness is usually, it's not a feeling. So per se, it's not something that we feel. It's kind of on the borderline, but quite often it's a decision.
yeah, it is actually more a decision. When, like when I think about it.
Yeah, because it's like, it's not like sad where it's like lonely. Like, how can you feel lonely? You know what I mean? It's not. It's a state that we're in because of something that's going on around us, and it's the decision that when I'm on my own, I'm alone, or I'm lonely, or something like that. Or when someone does this, that means complex equivalence that I am lonely. Yeah.
So with this now,
So start from the first event, the earliest event, clean it up.
in the womb.
Yep.
That's
And then come back and do each event and clean up each event. But remember, sometimes when you clean up an earlier event, it can also clean up other events. They could be linked in some way, not necessarily, but
Yeah.
it's still, I would check in with each event and clean something up with each event.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless they say, no, that one's good. I feel like that one's complete now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just you ask her, you know, you
Age-
put it back in
age-
her unconscious mind.
Yeah. Age 7 was fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And then I'm a mistake, I'm not good enough, you know, if you've got those living decisions
Mm.
as well that you're going to do later, you know, like all of it is cleaning up what you've probably already uncovered anyway. So it's all really powerful in the whole process of, working with those specific events.
Yep. Okay. So
You know what to do?
yeah, it's going from, basically make my own choice, whether it's a limiting decision or a negative emotion, and use the appropriate.
That's right. And then you'll say to her, so now you don't need to discover the root cause because you've got the age already. So you just say, all right, float back to above the timeline and go back to the event to position number 4 inside the event, you know, and you just go through the script. You don't need to necessarily do the
Don't
discovery.
have to get it all right.
No,
It's an issue.
no, it's not.
No.
Because right now, even though you may not have like asked all the questions, it's still fine because you've got the events anyway.
Mm.
So that's the key piece.
Mm.
And whatever you do on this event, you're going to clean it up in no matter what.
Mm. Mm.
Even if you don't, you just go back to that event and be like, right, what did you learn from that event? Right? Like, and not working with a specific emotion, but it's working with the significant emotional event.
Mm.
Then you're going to clean up that event because she's going to get the learnings from the event and you're going to be done. So if worst case, like you're like, I don't know what to do here. Just treat it as though, you know, using negative emotions 1 or 2 and just working with that significant emotional event if it was one.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Okay.
Go for it.
Jess, let's clean up some of these gaps that you have in your timeline. Okay, some of the
I don't recall going through this process, and I need to establish the internal representation, and I've gone blank on what that means.
Yeah, we did that. We did that in prac. We put goals into the future and it's all there for you. The script has been inserted in there for you. So you follow the script.
Oh, to follow it? All that. Ooh,
Huh?
follow that?
Yes, follow it all. Internal representation is what, Megs? You know this.
Oh, I'm going blank.
An IR, an internal representation. Think of the NLP model of communication. Information comes in, it comes in through all of our senses.
The VAC GOG thing.
Yeah. So an internal representation is what?
The visual, kinesthetic, or audio.
Yeah. Or it could have tastes and smells and internal dialogue there as well. So they're bringing up a picture of the last step of how they know they've got their goal.
Oh. What is the last thing to have? Okay.
So you make sure the goal is SMART first. So let's say I want to be generating 10K a month consistently.
So we have to talk through what they want first.
You have to make sure the goals are SMART, that they're ecological, win-win-win for all, that they're specific, achievable, realistic, time-based, all that. So if he was saying, I want to earn 50K a month and he's only earning 2K, then you'd be like, that's not necessarily going to be realistic, and you'd have to talk through that. Right? So yes, you do need to do some discussion to make sure it's achievable and realistic, and it's, you know, going to be possible in the time period that he set.
All right, so just follow it. And it's written there.
Yeah, and then the script I've changed that script actually from what you got in prac, which was also, but I gave you the script separately of how to adjust the submodalities, and I've put it all in like to interface with the original script. If that's the word, I don't know, but anyway, the right word. Sounds good. Interface.
How do you spell it?
Interface, whatever. INTAFACE. That's how we say it. And if you're American, you spell it how you say it. So there you go.
Now. Phonetic. So when you did your manual, the version 2 model, is that it? Because that's what I've just printed.
Say again.
2 manual. You know how you put that in?
Yeah, it's in. What do you mean?
Well, you had for like manual 1.
Yeah, but what's the question?
So in the second update
Yeah,
printed,
both of them. That's in there. Yeah, that's the right one.
all right.
Okay, cool. Go for it. Is that it?
Yeah.
Awesome! Look at you guys go. Megs is on fire. How you feeling, Curtis?
I want cookies.
He's tired and wants cookies.
Oh, we'll make some for you. I have to be on standby though, so
I want
you know
cookies, and I want them all. You all get
that's
one.
not happening.
You all get one apiece. I'm gonna put peanut butter all over them. I'm gonna mix them all with ice cream in a big ass bowl, and that's it.
Oh, you should be.
Get one. I'm gonna smack you with a spoon.
I'm not making them for you. You can make them yourself.
My brain hurts to answer your question.
Yeah, you look like you've been zapped.
I put him through the ringer.
You have.
Yeah,
It's good though. I can see it. I can see a change in you.
I don't appreciate it. Ugh.
Yeah, I can see you changed. All right, cool. I'm going.
I said to him I wanted him to be my critique, and I felt that I didn't chunk down enough in the first part, and I didn't really know when to or how, like where to. That was my, like, where should I have? I just couldn't find that. But anyway, we got results.
Yeah, well, but you did, and the going, is this it or not, and then coming and having feedback. That's how you learn, right?
Yeah.
Which is why also the mentorship's great, because when you take on clients, if that's the thing that you want to do, when you take on clients and you're out there and you're doing it and you're like, this happened, this is what they said, you know, like, and that's where the exchange can be of, you know, what did I go far enough? What could I have asked here? And it's that, you know, it's just going to be constant learning, babe. Seriously. When I first started, I was the same. I was less prepared than you guys because I didn't have this.
Yeah. You would have.
Oh, yeah. But again, at the end of the day, I still help people shift.
Yeah.
Because even if you're just helping people clear up emotions and a couple of limiting decisions and beliefs, you know, whatever, like you're impacting their life massively. You know?
Yeah. I felt so like after yesterday with Curtis, like I literally had a breakdown. I was like, I was crying, you know, like a mess. I'm like, I can't do this more. Crazy.
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
The whole bed was full of papers, and I'm like, what am I
doing? You're not the only one, but it's like you did it.
I did.
You did it.
I'm so glad you put me with Curtis.
You got to throw yourself in and just go. You know, it's how we learn, by doing, not by sitting there and reading the notes.
Yeah.
We learn by doing it.
And the manual was amazing, by the way.
Good. Awesome.
There was a couple of words, wasn't there, Curtis, in the first part, that this, like the primary representational system, that's spelt wrong. I'm like, because when Curtis was reading,
We're like, huh? Like, I think she means travel here. Yeah.
You did figure it out, though.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing, guys. Anchor how good it feels, Meg. So, look at Curtis. Oh, Curtis, go look at your face. All those wrinkles are gone.
Only on his forehead, right?
Yeah.
I want my cookies now.
You look and sound like a little boy. No,
I want my motherfucking cookies. Now. I deserve cookies.
So go make them.
No, I'll wait for you in Brooklyn.
So I know that I've spoken to you about, like, at the very start to do all 3 things. So, and then obviously due to COVID, I couldn't come up for the retreat, which I would So, and then you said the next one is May, but are you going to reschedule it based on like your take time out for yourself? And
No, so in March is the Master Prac.
Yeah.
So come then. We've got 2 spots left.
Master Prac. Okay. And so, and the other thing I asked Curtis, which he said probably ask you, you'll have a better answer for me. Is the NLP accredited?
Yes. So I have to assess everyone's videos when I get them and go through everyone's tests, and I commit to doing that over the next 3 weeks before Christmas. So what we'll do for the Prac online group is we'll do a little party. We'll have a wine, we'll have a little reward ceremony, certificate ceremony, right? And I'll organise that, and I'll reach out to everyone and let them know.
All right. So what if I fail something?
You will not fail.
Did you really just say that?
Yes. Right? Clear the screen.
You know the worst thing you can do is say that on the phone. You got both of us on the phone.